You've lived a great life and done well for yourself. But what mark will you leave on the world? How will you inspire future generations? Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand have helped thousands of people answer exactly those questions. If you've ever wondered, what will be my legacy? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Stan and Katie Beth.
Welcome to My Life, My Legacy podcast. I'm your guest host, Diane Robinson, investment advisor with IP Financial Advisory Services, LLC. Today, my guest is practice manager Heidi Rizkalla at Johnstown Veterinary Associates. Heidi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Diane. Pleasure.
So tell us how you got involved with Johnstown Veterinary Associates.
You can say that I was recruited to be the practice manager at Johnstown Veterinary Associates. My background is in education, actually, and I taught for several years locally and abroad. And I also did manage educational programs at the Learning Lamp. And around 2013 is when I was recruited to join Johnstown Veterinary Associates to just do I don't want to say managing of people, but just the administrative tasks associated with running a practice. So that's how I started.
So as a practice manager, you do a little bit of everything?
Yeah. So as a practice manager, you obviously deal with vendors, employees, doctors, clients, patients. So it's basically the inner workings of a practice. You essentially do the things that maybe a practice owner would not want to do, that would take a practice owner away from seeing clients and seeing patients. It's balancing books. It's dealing with the accountant. It's dealing with lawyers. It's dealing with just the daily workings of having a place we have about 23 employees, managing 23 employees and what they have to do, along with the doctors and the doctor's schedules and the doctor's needs and wants. But I would say a bulk of my day is pretty much spent on just the things that are not glamorous, like writing bills and speaking to vendors, trying to better deals on vaccines and lab fees and things like that. Just the stuff that people think happens on their own and they don't. So it's a lot of the inner workings of what's going on in a veterinary clinic. It's also keeping in line with, we're an AAHA accredited practice, doing things in having the knowledge of knowing that you are an AAHA accredited practice. There are certain things that we have to do to keep our accreditation. There are certain guidelines we have to follow. Some areas you really can't cut corners when it comes to like diagnostics and things like that. There's just a lot.
So what do you find most rewarding about what you do?
I honestly think what I find most rewarding is still being in the educational role, whether it is educating our employees on how to maybe have a better client interaction, teaching them that there are certain ways that you can tell somebody that, that they're wrong by still having and showing empathy and compassion and that sort of skill set as far as like employees and managing them and just getting them to be maybe like a better version of themselves. Cause I feel like everybody's always a work in progress. I don't think I have never come across somebody who woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be a client service representative in a veterinary clinic. I haven't come across that person, but you pull people from all different walks of life and you pull on those skills and there's still skills that you need to improve. I have a person who has dealt with the public for 20 years or so in another area of life as far as professionally. That person didn't know anything about vaccine schedules and what medications are used for what. So that was a skill set that person had to learn, but they came already with having empathy and compassion and all of that. They just had to maybe learn like the medical aspect of it.
So that empathy and compassion is something that I know that your veterinary service has, because for full disclosure, my dog Parker goes to see Dr. Slide at Johnstown Veterinary Associates. Now, my previous dog didn't like to go there, but Parker absolutely does love to go there. And I know most people know that it's expensive for any medical care, whether it's a pet or if it's a person. And so this kind of brings me to the reason that I asked you here today is because you have a fundraiser that I think everyone should know about. And so tell us a little bit about that and what your aim is for that and what help you need from the public.
Sure. So our fundraiser started about 7 years ago. This year will be our 8th annual. And it started basically to, number one, we are in the Hornerstown section of Johnstown. We wanted to pull our neighbors together and let them know that there are good things happening in our section of town. We have a school across from us. There are industries that are in Hornerstown. We always felt that if people felt safe bringing their kids to school in Hornerstown for 8 hours at a time, you should feel safe bringing your pet to a doctor visit for, hopefully we'll get you out of there in a short amount of time, but you should be safe for about half an hour to visit the vet. So we wanted to, and Johnstown Veterinary Associates has been in that location since 1920. It wasn't called Johnstown Veterinary Associates. It used to be called Prothero Animal Hospital. And obviously it has developed, it has grown. We are still an AHA accredited practice since 1958. But anyway, we wanted to let people know that while you might not be in the most favorable part of town, we are practicing good medicine in this area, great medicine in this area, excellent medicine in this area with all the bells and whistles, with ultrasound, with EKGs, with great dental units, with high-tech surgery. So there's so much happening in our little corner of Messenger Street that we wanted to let people know that this is a place where you can definitely come and bring your pets and feel safe and also get great quality medicine. So we were like, how do we get people to our area? And because they'll come in and see the facility, at least the front of it, because we have giveaways and things like that they can get. Why don't we not only bring them to our area and just see that it's actually not a bad place, but also to piggyback on the obesity problem with cats and dogs and maybe go for a walk, a 1 mile walk around along our clinic, because on that route, you'll see that there's a playground. You might see kids. There's a lady that started her own little garden in that area, and she does great marketing her garden. I think she provides it free to people, like her produce. Why not go around the block, a mile walk, and end that walk with, a couple of years ago, we started doing like a barbecue at the end. Dr. Assad started doing a barbecue for anybody who wants to join. There's no fee to partake of those festivities. And the only thing that people had to do was just register a donation, $25 donation, and they'll get like a free t-shirt. And also a lot of things that the pharmaceutical companies are giving, whether it's fake Stanley mugs, little gadgets, pads, whatever, just to give away for people joining the walk. And then we said, okay, we're going to do a walk. Why don't we have some of our, not necessarily partners, but people that we partner with, like Nardecchia Spay and Neuter and Fat Cat Emergency Fund, where they pretty much just work on donations. That's their thing. They work on donations to help people with, whether it's spaying and neutering or unforeseen medical veterinary bills, which everybody will have at one point in their life. You can't foresee when your pet's going to get sick. And then whatever donations we raise from that, we will split equally with our own emergency animal care fund, which one of our CSRs started years ago, pretty much just selling candy bars on her own and catnip toys and things like that. But why don't we do that? And whatever money we make, and JVA will be the one that buys the t-shirts. So JVA buys the t-shirts, and then whatever money is made, which is truly like a profit, if you will, is split between Nardecchia Spay and Neuter, Fat Cat Emergency Medical Fund, and then our medical fund, our emergency medical fund. So we got exercise out of it. We got people to come to our community, and it was a nice way to have just camaraderie. People registered who don't actually go to Johnstown Veterinary Associates. They might go to another clinic, and they just wanted to spend 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes, depending on how fast or slow you walk, I guess, walking for a good cause. And at the end, just meeting other pets, meeting other cats and dogs. Cats came in strollers. They come in strollers. And it's a great way for our employees to just have a day. The office is closed. There's no appointments. And everybody's coming on that Saturday for like a nice time together, a nice walk, going around our section, our Hornerstone section of Johnstown. Because I think Dr. Assad said it years ago, the only way to keep an area alive is to have businesses like that. He could have taken the practice and gone maybe to a nicer area of, or I don't want to say nicer area of town, but a presumably nicer area of town. But why would you do that when you've been there since 1920?
So would you like to tell our listeners how important it is that cats and dogs and other pets get spayed and neutered?
Yeah. So I'm not a technician. I'm not medically trained in any way, but just having my own dogs over the years and having friends who have pets and seeing pets on a daily basis, it's important to get pets spayed and neutered. Bob Barker was right. At the end of every Price is Right show, he would say, don't forget to have your cat spayed and neutered. And as a kid, you were like, what's he talking about? But as an adult, what he's talking about, as far as spaying, you can eliminate or at least lessen the likelihood of your dogs getting pyometra or your cats getting pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus. And at that point, it's no longer an elective surgery, but a necessary surgery, a mandatory surgery. You can help eliminate or lessen the likelihood of them getting mammary gland tumors, or for males, prostate cancers, problems with urination, just a host of things, behavioral issues, if you will. So as far as spaying and neutering, we don't need cats running around town and getting hit by cars and things like that. And for lack of a better word, spreading disease. Veterinary medicine is still a public health issue. You cover public health issues. It's not just about my mom and dad's Yorkie that was hand fed in their home. There's also a whole public health issue that veterinarians have to deal with as far as disease, zoonotic diseases, ones that are transferred to humans, whether it's rabies or ringworm or whatever. And spaying and neutering, going back to spaying and neutering, if you're not going to breed, why not? Because we always say that, and I forget who actually said that. I don't know if it was Ben Franklin who said it, but prevention is 1 ounce of prevention. Forget it. Never mind. I don't remember. I think
probably everyone knows what you're trying to say, and I don't remember the exact wording either.
Yeah, but prevention is always, as far as cost, if we're talking about costs of veterinary medicine, and the costs have been rising like everything else in life, the cost of prevention is definitely cheaper than cure, and you have a better success rate with preventing than curing. But the cost of veterinary medicine, like I said, has gone up, and it has gone up to even the veterinary clinics. I think clients sometimes only see what their cost is, but they don't necessarily see what the back end cost is as well to get good quality medicine, good quality diagnostics in their clinics.
So let's say hypothetically, if Johnstown Veterinary Associates closed tomorrow, what do you feel is the legacy of Johnstown Associates?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Well, I hope we don't close because we're expanding.
No, this is just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Parker would be upset if you closed.
I think what we would want our legacy to be, and legacy is a great word, is that this clinic brought exceptional veterinary medicine to a very small town in Pennsylvania that treated thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pets over the years and made our pets' lives better, stronger, maybe live longer than 20, 30 years ago. So I think I would want our legacy to be, this was a place not only treated my cat, my dog, my guinea pig, my rabbit, my lizard, but also taught me a lot about veterinary medicine and what it's like to be an exceptional pet parent.
So I know you have plans again this year to have your fundraiser. Do you want to tell us when that is? Because I don't think you've had it yet.
Yeah, I don't think we picked a date yet, but traditionally we do it in September. I think there was one year we did it maybe in July, but it just got too busy. And so we decided September is good. All like the vacations are done. The hustle and bustle of the summer is over. There's not a lot happening maybe in the first or second week of September. The weather is still good. It's cooler than July. So it's going to be in September. We just haven't picked a date yet.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Fortunately, my husband and I can afford to take our dog, Parker, to get medical help. But there are a lot of people that cannot, especially in the area that you're serving.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand how important it is to do the fundraisers to help out with those costs. So if there's someone listening that would like to help you, help others, how would they go about doing that?
They can definitely, we don't necessarily, we don't take donations per se, but if they want to register for the walk and participate in the walk, that can definitely help. They don't necessarily have to be in the walk. They can just register for the walk. They can register in the memory of their pet or and somebody else and just be part of the walk that way. When COVID hit, we did a virtual walk. And surprisingly, I think we raised more funds during COVID than any other year.
People weren't getting out to spend their money.
People didn't want to walk apparently, but they were okay donating. But yeah, they can definitely register for the walk that way. My parents always register for the walk, even though they don't come and walk, they still register for the walk. So whatever money is raised during that walk, again, it's split between Nardecchia, Fat Cat Emergency, and ours. I think last year we raised close to $2,500. I mean, this isn't thousands of dollars, but $2,500 split 3 ways, that might help. Depending on what's going on, it could help maybe 10, 20 families with major surgeries or something like that, or something that they did not know that they were going to have to do, like a pyometra surgery or something like that. It's not going to help 20 families, but maybe 2 families, it might help saving their dog's life or cat's life.
Let me ask you, what do you want people to know about Johnstown Veterinary Services from a legacy standpoint? Because that is the name of this podcast, is Your Life, Your Legacy. So we're focusing on legacies. So if I'm someone watching or listening to this podcast and I think I would really like to help out, I'm a pet lover. I really want to help out, maybe your clinic or someone else's. So tell us what we need to do. Do you need more funds, or do you need more volunteers, or what would help you?
That's a good question. I don't think anyone is ever going to say we don't want more funds. Of course, everybody would want more funds, because whenever you have more funds, you can then turn around and give it to these other organizations that are helping pet families in our area. For me, as far as a legacy is concerned, I understand what you're saying, but for me, it's the legacy that I would want to have for our clinic is just that we are hoping to make pet parents more aware that the education of their pet kind of starts with them. Whether or not your pet is going to need our services in the future, the majority of the time, that's how you are as a pet parent in your own home. If we are saying to you, our doctors can talk until they're blue in the face with spaying and neutering. Sometimes they'll agree, sometimes they won't agree. But when it's that time where you have no choice but to agree, and you are now in a situation where it's pretty much life or death for your pet, our legacy is like, why didn't you listen to us 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I think that's what we want our legacy to be, is just providing really great veterinary care, not only for your pet, but also you as a parent, letting you know that what we're telling you is the truth. You want your dogs vaccinated. You don't want to have a parvo dog. And we get those in the clinic. And now it's no longer a vaccine that you just had to go get and just pay for the vaccine. Now you're paying for thousands of dollars of parvo treatment, and it's not guaranteed. Your pet still might not make it. You came to us when a tumor was maybe this little. Now it's basketball size, and you want the doctors to do a miracle on that. They'll try their best. But I just think our legacy is just educating our clients, educating people that come through our doors, and seeing that, wow, I know what it was like when I had a parvo dog. Man, that cost me $1,000 worth of treatment. My legacy is going to be like, I have X amount of money. I can afford to register for this walk. The fee is $25. I might want to donate $50 for the walk. That might help another parvo dog. That might help another dog with a mammary gland tumor. That might help another pyometra. That might help a dog that has chronic allergies and maybe cannot afford the newer allergy medications like Cytopoint or Apoquel or getting allergy tested. I don't want my dog to have any more steroid injections and just make sure it goes away. So there is advancement in science. There should be also advancements in people's thought process as far as taking care of their pets. Everything else has advanced. Why wouldn't you want the best for your pet as well?
I do. That's why I go there.
Hypothetical question, but
Yes.
and I don't know if this is what this podcast is about, but I think that's really what's frustrating for me as an educator, when you can talk about research to clients and you can talk about pros and cons and you can talk about efficacy and you can talk about success rates and things like that. But unfortunately, still in veterinary medicine, unless you are extremely blessed financially, or you have pet insurance, or you have your own pet fund, which I recommend, take out, if you're able to, maybe take out $20, $30 a month from your paycheck and put it away. Put it as your animal reserve. Why not? People have vacation funds and they market that all the time. If you go to Hallmark or something, they have those little canisters or ceramic things that say like vacation fund or beach fund or girls fund or whatever. Why not have a pet fund and just stick a $10 in there every paycheck or whatever? People will do things like that. But when it comes to their pets, not everybody, but I'll say like a good chunk of people, they only think about their pet's medical needs when it's an emergency, and then they don't have that funding. They don't have that, what most people might call like disposable income to do something like that. So why not plan ahead? Everybody. We plan for our kids. When you go to your accountant, they're always talking about planning for a college fund or whatever. Why not do that for your pets? And for a majority of our clients, honestly, their pets are their kids, their lives. Why not plan for them?
Well, I think I have a different take on what your legacy is.
Did I botch your legacy?
We've had 3 pets. Our dog Parker is a year and a half old now, and we lost Mickey about 2 years ago.
Mickey was a trooper.
I think what sets you apart is that you're caring. You might send me an email about something, or you mentioned something that I had said before when I walked in that I never figured you would remember. You put the pets first. I can't complain about the care that any of my pets have gotten because you've been extraordinary. So it's not so much only that you're good at what you do and that you make the pets well. It's how you treat the pets and the owners at your practice. And I think that's your legacy, because right now I think a lot of people are looking for people to be understanding, empathetic. And I think that's something that you guys should be very proud of, because you do that. But I also understand that it's difficult being a veterinary practice, especially when you have people that cannot afford the care and they need it for their pets. I think I'm going to work with you and see if we can't get some more money for that process and see what we can do. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening. This has been Your Life, Your Legacy podcast with your guest host, Diane Robinson. And my guest today is Heidi. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss this. Rizkalla. And for more information about Johnstown Veterinary Associates, you can go to their website, which is www.johnstownveterinary.com. Mm-hmm. Anything else you would like to say before we say goodbye?
No, I just wanted to say those were very kind words, which definitely mean more to us than you can ever imagine. But very kind words. Anyone
who knows me will tell you I don't BS about things like that. I tell it like I see it, and that's how I see it. And I hope that one of the things that comes out of this is that more people who are watching this say, oh, I need to get my dog in, get my cat in, my lizard or whatever, to get checked out to make sure he or she is healthy. So on that note, I want to thank you again for being our guest, and good luck in your practice.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast with Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. To find out more about Stan and Katie Beth, go to pinnaclelegacylaw.com. You can also find links in the show notes.